Welcome to the bush. I'm here at Rodeo Park in Fort Madison, Iowa with Addrienne, my Morel Madness.
Hello.
And today on this lovely rainy day, why is it always raining when we go mushroom hunting?
Because that's the best day.
Because that's why, it's when they like to pop out. So we're taking advantage of this rain and we're going to go look for some wild edible mushrooms. Thank you so much for inviting me out here.
Oh, I'm glad you could come.
Absolutely.
We've been trying to do this for a long time.
Yes, we have. Without
any rain, there aren't any mushrooms. So this white, oh wait, there are mushrooms under here, is actually mycelium. It looks like hair and it feels like string right now. It's nice and it's really you know. Anyway, look at that. There's some mushrooms. So we just found out this is called polyporaceae mushroom. And it is not an oyster, even though that one looks a lot like an oyster. You know, you would think that could be an oyster mushroom, but this is hard. Look at that. And when you turn it over, it has a smooth pore surface. And it's, I mean, it's hard. It's, look at that. It's eating this wood. It's eating this dry wood. This dead wood, I mean. Okay, so we found this polypore on a piece of wood. It kind of looks like a horse's hoof. Could be a red belt or white belted conch or whatever they're called, but it's just so old that it's gray. Anyway, and you cannot write your name on it really. Some of them you can kind of, you could write your name, you could write a book, you could draw a picture, people do, and they sell them because they get huge. And there's just different polypores, so this is just one of these conchs that grows on the tree. Then we also saw another false turkey tail. Just a very big one, very big dead old turkey tail. Old false turkey tail. Then we found these clumps of stuff that are similar, it's so nasty, to a hen of the woods. And when it grows, when you see this at the beginning, it'll be more white, okay? But when you go to touch it or bother it, it will turn black. That's black staining polypore. And it will grow on this wood. Now look at how dead this wood is. I mean, there's almost nothing left to this wood. But those guys love it. And then honey mushrooms will grow with that or after that or before. And also, hen of the woods could possibly have gone in this spot also. This is what we've been looking for all fall, and the squirrels have eaten almost all of them. Oh, I'm gonna let you pull it, because have you ever pulled one off?
No, I have not.
Okay, so put your hand on there and just roll it toward you.
Boom.
Now you'll find turkey tail that's green, blue, purple. I mean, there's all different kinds. There's some of it's fuzzy, white, not brown, white.
Just pure white on the bottom.
Fresh turkey tail.
Cool.
400 times vitamin C.
Oh, wow. And how do you fix that? Just like any other mushroom?
Make a tea in a tea bag. I just take these little leaves, I dry them. You have to dry them first. Then I break it up, make a tea bag, make tea, and then I put a tea bag that I like, a flavor I like, with it.
With it. Gotcha.
Yeah. Turkey tail.
Very incredible.
And there's several that do that. Lobster mushrooms are a parasitized mushroom.
So explain what's going on with these mushrooms.
Okay, so sometimes mushrooms parasitize other mushrooms. So like one thing will eat another thing and turn it into something completely different. And we usually eat the thing that it turned it into. Like lobster mushrooms start out as one mushroom and then a fungus or a parasite eats it and then it becomes a whole different mushroom, and that's when we like it.
Very interesting.
Also, shrimp of the woods is the same way. Starts out as a, oh shoot, can't remember that. Anyway.
Shrimp of the woods? Get out of here. That
shrimp
sounds
of
delicious.
the woods is a mushroom that did not finish its process.
Okay.
So whenever you find a shrimp of the woods, you always look for the gray mushroom next to it. The gray one is what it should have been, but it didn't get there. It turned into a shrimp instead. I know.
Shrimp of the woods? That sounds freaking delicious.
And it looks like shrimp, and it's supposed to taste like shrimp, and it feels like shrimp. So
how cool.
I haven't had it, but I do know how to get it. This honey mushroom is a white rot mushroom, so it's rotting all this wood from the inside out. That's why this tree is on the ground. It's a cherry tree.
Wow.
Yeah, and I can't remember what this one's called, but it's got teeth. If you look underneath, they're like teeth. It's a tooth mushroom. But you know, there's another tooth mushroom called a hedgehog mushroom, and it grows on the ground. People eat it, but we don't have them here. I've never seen one, so.
That is a type of turkey tail.
I'm glad I got a hood on. I just got smacked in the head with a nut.
Oh no.
Those squirrels.
So that is a type of turkey tail, correct?
Yeah, this is actually, you could make tea from this one, but I never pick it because I just have the real turkey tail, I guess. But this is still the same. I mean, you can make tea from it. It's still a turkey tail. It's just a different one, and it's a violet one, and I cannot remember the name of it, but it is just violet.
Violet color on it.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Purple mushroom's good. Most of the time. Not every time, most of the time.
Right. All right, well, we didn't have the greatest luck, but we did find me some hen of the woods, so I'm pretty excited about that.
Right.
And I got to see real turkey tail for the first time. So
you got
I'm
to
pretty,
pick a hen
pretty
yourself.
excited. Yeah, absolutely. So
And lion's mane.
yeah, and we found some lion's mane, and I'm gonna sneak back here in a few days and check that lion's mane and see how much it's grown. But anyway, I think it's step 2 time.
Woohoo! Yeah!
Cheers. Look at my mustache. Well, we decided to stop, have a brewski. No In the Bush video is complete without step 2. All right. Well, it is a new day. We didn't have the greatest luck last time. We've seen a few things, but had a few step 2s. But it is a new day, and we're in an undisclosed location here, and we're going to check it out. This is kind of a river bottom area, so we're going to check it out. It offers a little bit different terroir, as the wine experts would say. All right, so what you've got there is a grapevine.
This is a grapevine.
And a grapevine is easy to tell the difference because a poison ivy vine would be like hairy.
And it usually is like on the tree with hairs holding it to the tree. Yeah, absolutely. And that one is barky instead. Right. So it's got just a bit of bark on it. So anyway, yeah, that's another thing that you can do with that is you can actually cut this off at some point. Now this one's pretty dry, but in a survival situation, you can cut it off at some point, put a cup underneath of it, and actually collect water out of it that's safe to drink. And but you want to make sure that it's a grapevine and not a poison ivy vine. But what were you going to tell us about the grapevine and mushroom? Well, if you can find a grapevine, you always want to look at your grapevine area. You might find a morel there. Just saying.
So, yeah. So always check for morels during morel season, that is.
Yes.
It's November now, so I don't think we're going to find any morels. But we're on the hunt for some different kind of mushrooms. What kind of mushrooms are we kind of keeping an eye open for today?
We're coming in for oysters and Hericium mushroom, possibly. And we might run into turkey tail, but I don't think I've seen turkey tail here. We could run into a lion's mane, though. Never know. Couldn't say.
Sounds good. Let's get to hunting. All right, I found my first stinging nettle thanks to Addrienne, because I wouldn't have known what it was. But stinging nettle, this is like a highly nutritious plant, very highly nutritious plant. I talked about it in my wild edibles video, but there was none on my property that I could find. So here it is, stinging nettle.
We found them, our little fresh oyster mushrooms. So then you just take, these are winter oysters, okay? Summer oysters are more white and they're kind of floppy. These are a tan color, or sometimes they'll be olive or a gray, and they're white underneath, or cream, because they're not today's mushrooms. They're maybe a couple days old.
Mm-hmm.
So otherwise they'd be perfectly white. But these are winter oysters, are always darker and firm. These are very firm.
Okay.
Summer oysters are floppy and they get lots of worms in them. That's why winter oysters are just better, I think. No worms.
Just another reason why
So
winter's better than summer.
Yeah. And the worms are white. You can't see them.
Oh, no.
Until they're like crawling all over everywhere. Ugh.
Right.
Yeah, so I'm just going to leave that one. Anyway, and if you look at this, I'll hold one up real close.
Yeah.
There's no bugs at all in there. It's because it's cold outside. Winter.
Mm-hmm.
So these are going to be fresh, nice oysters. Beautiful today. And these are good for your heart health. They clean. There was something that I was reading today about they help cleanse your blood somehow. Anyway, they're
That's good.
heart health mushroom for sure.
Now, how do you fix those? Just
Well,
like
I
the
think
others?
most people just probably just saute them somehow. My friends like them pretty crispy. They said they're like potato chips.
Mm-hmm.
I don't like oyster mushrooms myself, but I can find them. I got them.
That's pretty cool. So you were saying that a little snow would hydrate those right up.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
So these mushrooms that we're looking for today are hardy winter, like they can handle the cold and the
They
snow.
love it. Yeah, you'll get your oyster mushrooms. Gosh, I mean, I go out till January until it's so slippery. I don't want to walk out here. It's too dangerous. But they'll be
Sure.
here. They'll be out here, and you can cut them off frozen and just stick them right back in the freezer at home.
So they don't mind being frozen and thawed and frozen and thawed.
The only mushroom I find that has trouble with the freezing is morels.
Yeah, of course.
That's the
Yeah.
only one. I've frozen
Which are-
all
they're-
the mushrooms that I've gotten, and I've never.
They're a pretty warm weather mushroom then.
They're picky.
Yes, they are.
A lot of deer rubs too. That could be deer doing this, which is weird. I don't think deer usually do this. You know, generally you want to get your freshest mushrooms. So you want to pick, like, if you were going to pick something like this, and say it was on a log on the ground, the bottom ones are going to be dirty from all the splash of the dirt from the rain.
Sure.
So you'd want to pick the top ones. But on this one, I would probably go more for the bottom because they're smaller and they're tighter.
You like the smaller ones better for
It's
tenderness or for,
yeah, just for freshness. And it's a general rule. Smaller is better on mushrooms unless it's like morels or something. But the color under here is not very white. It's kind of spored out. It's got little yellow on it. Probably
Right.
That's probably the color of the spores. I can't. Looks like it has white spores to me. But anyway, I haven't checked that out. But I mean, you could pick these and you could eat them. And if you were starving, of course you could eat these. But I mean, if you're going to take them home and have them in a meal, you may as well get the freshest thing you can get. And there's plenty. So don't give up.
Especially in this forest, there's
Sit this up. There's some squirrel will take it. They do.
so squirrels like those, huh?
Oh, you'll see them on ledges and just laying in places all summer long. You'll see a mushroom here, a mushroom there that shouldn't be there.
Nice.
Even morels. I've even found morels on a weird
Right.
spot, like something picked it and laid it there. It sounds so rubbery. It's such a neat sound.
It goes
Fresh. Look how fresh the difference is. This just looks delicious, doesn't it?
Yeah, it looks much more white and clean.
Yeah.
I guess.
That's a beautiful mushroom. We got that.
So that's what you're really looking for taking home and cooking with.
I would say
Is the
so.
real white, clean, nice ones.
Beauty. Look at that. Gorgeous. Let's see what we've got. Let me pull it out. Ugh. Oh, it is. It's velvet foot.
Cool.
This is called Flammulina volutipes.
Flammulina volutipes.
This is velvet foot mushroom. Flammulina volutipes.
Love it.
I love that word. And this is edible.
So it's an edible mushroom, but you said...
I just don't know anybody that eats it, but I mean, it is edible. I know it is. I just don't... I've never picked it for that purpose. I just think it's cool. But yeah, that's
Have
it.
you ever tried it?
Velvet foot is because this leg right here is dark. The cap is orangey. Like that cream color underneath. And really, it's kind of a fuzzy stem. I mean, you can't really see it that great here, but yep. And it will grow like in the freezing cold.
Wow.
Snow on the ground, ice on the ground. Flammulina volutipes.
So the issue that I'm having is, like, that looks like such a common mushroom. If I was in a survival situation, I'd be scared to death, you know, without you there. If I ever have to survive in the woods, I'm just going to have to take you with me because I don't know. Mushrooms scare a lot of people, obviously.
Well, I mean, there is something deadly that looks very similar to that. And you got to study, you know, it's the only way. It really helps to know how big something will grow and how big it won't grow.
Yeah.
Because usually, like the one that would be deadly would be deadly Galerina. It will be a brownish color, like the darkest color here. But the whole thing will be that color. And when you turn it over, the whole underneath is that color.
Okay.
And that one is... You don't want to eat that. You don't want to make that mistake. But it usually gets not this big of a cap on it. It's usually a smaller cap. Now, I'm not going to say I haven't seen bigger ones because I have. And it's also more of a flat cap and more delicate. This one's pretty hardy.
So there are identifying features that you know you can be confident.
Yes.
That what you have there is an edible mushroom.
Yes. And you see, inside the stem is not white, it's yellow or yellowish, you know?
Yellowish inside the stem.
The main thing is brown stem here. That's the velvet foot.
Okay.
Okay. And
it's
then creamy,
okay,
instead of white, creamy gills.
Okay.
Gilled mushroom, not sponge mushroom or whatever. And you see there's several variations of color on top of that.
Kind of a toasted bread top.
It really does. Yeah.
You know, like a loaf of bread fresh out of the oven kind of top thing
that
going
creamy
on.
underneath looks yummy. Make sure you know that you're eating what I tell you it is, because you know, everybody needs to know for themselves before they put it in their mouth. This one's very fresh, and you see dark orange all the way. Deadly Galerina. Do not eat. But you do not want to put that in your mouth.
That's what she said. Chances are, in a survival situation, you're not going to be there to help me. So I have to learn these things.
And you're not going to be there to help me build stuff. And
for the yeah, exactly. And for the people that are watching this video, I'm wanting to put this information out there to help you as well. If it ever comes down to it, you know, I don't want you walking by free food, especially if you're hungry.
And the flavors, mushrooms. I mean, the wild mushrooms and wild edibles have flavors you would never imagine, because we pretty much all grew up on the same 15 vegetables and fruits and things. I mean, we all did. Right. It might have been fixed a different way, but it all tastes the same. But when you get in the woods, you can't believe the flavors you never imagined.
Yeah. A lot of like really fancy restaurants will use some wild mushrooms and stuff like this to flavor their dishes.
Right, and like I was telling you, with that garlic mustard, you can make salsa with that. And I haven't done it, but I've wanted to do that, and I'm going to do that, and I might do it tonight.
That's an awesome idea.
Oh my gosh, they did pop up because somebody was talking about it. Somebody was telling me that, what's this? They sent me a picture, and I said those are inky caps. So they did just pop out just the other day. Inky caps turn into black goo.
Okay.
That's why you eat them the day you pick them. See how black they are? The black, by 2 more days, they'll be just goo.
Really?
Yeah, and especially if you pick them. Inky crap.
Inky crap?
Inky caps grow in large groups. In the summer, they grow all summer, they grow all spring.
Now, even though that one's got a little black on the bottom, would it still be good to eat today?
They're always black on the bottom.
Oh, okay. Okay.
But,
well, some of those little ones aren't.
Right, though. Right. Well, the little ones aren't open all the way yet. But when they open, that's what color their spores are. So that's going to turn into black goo after it's a couple days old. But I'll tell you a little clue. Inky caps are one of my very first mushrooms to come in the spring, and they come before morels. So when you see inky caps on the ground, then you start looking for morels.
Okay.
So this is how oyster mushrooms generally grow. They will grow a long way, but they always are in a shelf formation. So there's going to be like plates on top of each other. Plate, 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 plate. Gotcha. They stack on top of each other. And they are a gilled mushroom. And an oyster, any oyster mushroom, always the stem, if you notice, go ahead.
So this is what she means by gilled.
Right.
And some mushrooms are like a pore instead of on the
Some
bottom,
of them
right?
are fuzzy. Some of them are like a sponge. These are gills. And then chanterelles have false gills. And let me tell you how long it took me to figure out the difference between false gills and actual gills. I could not understand it. But it's a thing. We'll have to show you when we have chanterelles in our hand.
Absolutely.
But all oyster mushrooms have an off-center stem. So if you pick a mushroom off of a tree and the stem is in the middle like a ground mushroom would be,
then
that's not an oyster.
Gotcha.
An oyster always has an off-center stem.
Gotcha. So those are puff balls. Go ahead and pop one. Show everybody. See the little puff of the dust? I've ran into those many, many times in the woods.
They say, don't breathe it.
Oh, really?
They say, have fun, don't breathe it.
So these here have been there since the summer?
Yeah.
And when they were white, they were edible?
Yes.
But puffballs get rather large, right?
Different kinds.
So this is a small version
Yeah.
of a puffball.
White rot fungus. You see that white?
Yes.
So I would say that's probably maybe from the puffballs, but actually I don't know if they're a white rot fungus, but that's white rot right there. And honey mushrooms do that too, but they have those hairs like we saw the other day at that other place. Remember we saw those white hairs coming out of the log?
Yes.
And then there's a black rot too, so you have the black hairs. That would be, in the spring you can find that a lot, and I can't think of what mushroom is doing that, but honey? No, I don't know. I can't remember.
So here we are, getting ready to head out from this location, and we're going to show off our bounty from the day.
Stinging nettle and these really cute inky caps.
So the inky caps right here, these are what I'm going to be trying tonight and reading up on. And then tomorrow I'll try what are these? The velvet foot. That's right. So I'll be trying these velvet foots and allowing a good 24 hours between to make sure that I'm not getting sick or anything. Right. And then of course I'll try the oysters. Oysters are pretty common. I'm pretty confident on those. Yeah. But the inky caps and stuff. But people do eat them and like them. People do. As long as you get them very fresh like this and then just eat them right away so they don't get, because I'm telling you, they turn to black as my coat, just like ink. That's why they're called inky caps. And another lesson I learned is stinging nettle, always wear gloves, because it's called stinging nettle for a reason. And so I'm picking it up with my coat jacket sleeve. But I'm going to make just a little small bit of stinging nettle tea probably with that. So I'm pretty excited, which I'll have to read up or watch some videos, It's so fun though. But we've definitely got some wild edibles here to try. And after reading about them and learning about them, then I'll be confident that in a survival situation that I could identify them. Well, so that's that. We did really well and learned a lot of information in this video. So thank you so much for taking me out here.
Sure.
And a couple different locations now and seeing the different types of mushrooms that grow in different environments. It's pretty cool. It's pretty neat. And I'll be keeping my eyes open as I'm traversing my land and the areas that I like to hike and stuff. So I'll be keeping my eyes open. The more I learn about this, the more I'm looking around.
And you may have already seen it and you didn't even know it.
Oh, like the puffballs and stuff. You know, I saw those growing up as a kid. I always saw those.
Yeah.
You know, I didn't think much of them. I thought they were cool to step on and watch the dust go everywhere. But now I know. So it's pretty exciting. So I want to thank you for everything. And as always, we'll see you next time in the bush.